Rightio, here we go, guys. 30 seconds counting down. Canada under-23 men's versus the Australia under-23 men's. A good lineup, a good showing. Joining me in the commentary box here is Andy the Lumberjack, all the way from Canada. How are you, my friend?
Not bad, not bad. It's been a great day. I've been excited watching all these games. Canada's actually coming out. We're doing pretty good. Been a bit of a struggle for most of the teams, but overall, I think we're starting to pull together as a team and coming together.
That's awesome, mate. Day 3 of the comp. Obviously, all the teams are sort of learning the lessons, and as the clock counts down and this game kicks off, we'll see both teams launch into the middle of the pool with, I'm sure, what's going to be a lot of energy and a good hit out. You can see a lot of fast kicking going on there by both teams. Pretty much each team met each other in the middle of the park there. The puck's gone over to the far side of the pool and just sort of driving down the into the Canadian attack, and the Canadians, I might actually have it the wrong way around. Australians are attacking, my apologies, and the Canadians are starting to defend. And I'm just sitting here in the commentary box being made a little bit insecure by the manliness that's just coming off your beard right now, my friend.
It can be a little intimidating here. That was the whole plan. Show up down here. I'm coaching the U23 women's team, and we were a little worried about our little bit of lack of experience. So I thought the beard might give us a little intimidation factor.
So Australians, unfortunately for the Canadians, have put a first goal in, number 11 for the Australians. So we are looking at Mitchell Piccoli scoring the first goal there, taking first blood in this game against Canada. It's always got to be one team or the other that scores that first goal, Andy.
Oh, for sure. That was a great push by Australia coming in. I know the Canadians, I talked with them before they jumped in the pool there, and they're focusing on defense. They know the Australians are going to come out swinging. They know they're a strong team. So Canada's really focusing on keeping them out of the middle of the pool, push them to the wall, taking their time, settle into the pace of this game before they start rushing into things.
Yeah, okay, understood. And interestingly, who's the coach of this under-23 team?
This will be Jordan Fryers coaching the men's team on this one for Canada. I'm not sure who's on for the Aussies there.
Yeah, the Aussies have got two coaches, Nick Martin and Greg Stinson, are doing that as the referees pull up an infringement. By the looks of it, players are still continuing to play, so the referee wants the chief referee to continue buzzing that buzzer until the Aussies and the Canadians stop. It looks like it's going to be against Canada and for the Aussies, pretty much in the centre of the park there. As you can see, the Canadians getting a couple of quick subs in to get a couple of fresh players in the water. It's been pretty tight game so far, and no team at the moment is clearly dictating the passage of play. As you can see, the Australians taking the puck initially right and then immediately switching it back to the left, making the Canadians swim over to the far side of the court there, Andy.
Yeah, it definitely caught the Canadians off guard. They didn't seem to be too quick off the draw when the Aussies touched the puck at first. They seemed to wait, hold back, and see what happened, and it definitely didn't pay off for them. Fantastic little drive there, putting it back in the corner. They're going to stabilize now and see what they can come up with for an attack. Yeah,
interestingly enough, that the Canadian defender did a really good passage of play, getting that puck and defending it, and then pretty much swam uncontested into that corner. I think he must have assumed that the Aussies were coming when they weren't. But anyway, we're back into the thick of the game now as the Aussies again press a proper drive into the tray. Looks to me like the Canadians have done a good job of defending that initially. The puck has ended up into the tray. It's going to be interesting to see if the refs have seen an infringement here. They are indicating a goal between all three, and that's number 5 for Australia, scoring the second goal of the game, Alex Barnes-Keegan. Well done, Barnesy, there for scoring that second goal, and a nice attacking drive from the Aussies again there, Andy.
Oh, definitely. They're keeping it in the middle. I'm not sure what the Aussies' game plan is. I'm kind of watching here and see if I can pick it apart a bit, but it definitely looks like they're working towards the middle of the pool a little more. They're able to absorb the Canadian drive, pull it off around in front of the Canadians, and push it back up into the middle, right where where our boys aren't very strong there.
Yeah, the Australians generally don't like staying in one space for too long, so they do like to move it around a bit as they win this strike and move it out to this near side wall. The Canadians coming over the top to try and nullify that switch movement as the Australian half-back line get that puck back off the winger and throw an immediate switch over the other side of the quarter. Kind of well-executed backline switch there by the Aussies as they take it to the far side, and the Canadian defence meet them over there and cut down most of the forward momentum they have. The Canadians are doing a lot of defending at the moment, but they still are definitely in this game, and I reckon they are going to make the Australians work for every goal they get in this game today, Andy.
Yeah, I'm just kind of watching here. underwater hockey tends to be a numbers game on the bottom. The more people we put on the bottom, the more distance you're going to gain. If we kind of keep an eye on the Aussies here, they're definitely putting 3 to 4 people down to the Canadians too. So the Canadian boys are going to be having a hard time pushing that puck out.
Yeah, true. It was the Aussies put number 3 in the tin. We'll wait and see if the refs tell us which Australian scored that goal. You're right, Andy, that it is definitely a numbers game. Obviously, if you're playing the wall, then it's a numbers game the whole time. I think that was number 1 for Australia, Thomas Milner, finishing that goal off. So well done, Tommy, for scoring goal number 3, as there's a timeout called by Jordan for the Canadians there. So each team will have a minute's rest, a chance to grab some air, grab a drink, and listen to some wise words from the coaches here, Andy.
Yeah, I think Jordan's going to swim over there and just tell them to settle down a little bit. The Canadians seem to really be pushing hard into the Aussies there. I think Jordan's probably going to tell them to calm down, keep the puck to the wall side, and don't let them pull that puck and swing off on you.
Yeah, that's right. I think that is definitely some good advice by Jordan, if indeed he is saying that. He's definitely telling the Canadian lads to really sort of focus on possession and focus on basic hockey stuff by the looks of it. Interestingly enough, I saw Jordan using a little bit of a teabag manoeuvre in the coach's box in a previous game. I don't know if he just wanted to get some blood going around his legs and his body, but he just sort of came up out of the water and then down onto the bottom and up out of the water again repeatedly for about 5 or 6 movements there, Andy. Is that a Canadian thing or is that just a special Jordan thing?
I think you're going to find that's a special Jordan thing there. He's one of our unique guys. He just likes to breathe once and then sit on the bottom for as long as he can, then breathe once again. But I'm not sure that little bounce. Maybe the beard down there is not quite holding enough air for him, so he needs to breathe a bit more.
Yeah, well, I don't think Jordan's actually got enough facial hair at the moment to call it a beard, to tell you the truth. And I'd actually like to see him work a lot harder at generating this kind of facial raccoon that you're sporting here today in the commentary box with me, my friend. And just to let the viewers know, as the Australians drive a defensive puck over underneath their sub-bench, and the Canadians are quick to catch them over there, Andy in the commentary box is wearing a red and white lumberjack Canadian coloured beanie. He's got a very nice sort of used flanny on, black pants, which is just sort of offsetting and complementing his blonde, very curly, large lumberjack beard that he's got going on here. And again, I am feeling intimidated quite a bit right now in the commentary box. So I'm just going to make up for my intimidation by just saying a whole bunch of words here today, Andy.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the black pants, I had to change up from the blue jeans there a little bit because we had to class it up a little bit here. I didn't want to show up looking a little shabby.
Yeah, well, you had a red flanny on the other day, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Correct, it was. It was a little bit warmer out yesterday than it was today with the early morning game we had today and the late one now. It's a little cooler out, so I figured I'd dress for the weather.
Yeah, okay, so you're still in Canadian summer attire, is that true?
No, actually, Canadian summer attire right now would be cut-off jeans, a nice red short-sleeve red flanny there, and a pair of sandals.
Oh, you don't mind the cut-off denim jeans, mate?
When the occasion calls, you got to bust them out, but usually we kind of avoid them. It's more of a formal thing for us.
Yeah, okay. Nice and formal Canadian attire there, described by Andy, as the Australians do a lot of defending. The Canadians are putting a fair bit of attacking pressure on the Aussies right now, as it's basically just stayed in that defensive corner for quite some time. Underneath the Aussie sub-bench, the Canadians are doing a lot of good attacking at the moment, some good possession, a lot of curl and then reverse curling. The Aussies have got the possession back. They do drive it down their near side right-hand wall, right underneath their sub-bench as the buzzer goes. And unfortunately for the Aussies, they're going to get a call against them here. The Canadians are going to have an advantage puck for a gloving infringement. So the Canadians doing some good attacking right now, Andy.
Oh, exactly. I'm actually curious what they're going to do here now. Being in front of the opponent's sub bench isn't always the best plan. Your opposition keeps getting fresh people in, and you're the same 6 getting tired. So I'm wondering. I was curious if they'd try swinging it out, but looks like they're going right back to the wall, right back into the Aussie sub bench.
Yeah, it has gone back into the corner, and the Aussies are trying desperately to drive that puck out of there. I mean, I guess from a defensive point of view, they'd be happy to have the puck there, but at the same time as the referees play a bit of advantage and then call the puck up with a good, strong Australian drive down the wall, they don't want that puck to stay in that back corner for too long, as Para, the Colombian ref, has seen a bit of obstruction by the Canadians there, and the Aussies will get a bit of a reprieve and a bit of an advantage puck. I've been told on the chat here, Andy, that I'm to ask you what a toilet is. A toilet.
A toilet.
Is that another name for that beanie you're wearing?
That is a fantastic. That sounds French, and I'm not. I'm from the English part of Canada, where I'm pretty isolated from the French side. So a toilet.
Yeah, right.
That is a good good one. I'm not really sure.
We might have to ask the live chat to tell us if that's true or not, but I do have it on good information that that's exactly what it is called, and maybe that is in a French-Canadian tongue. And I'm interested to explore this sort of cut-off jeans shorts look that you've got going, and hopefully in the next coming days we can get some sun out here in Tasmania, and you might be able to wear that get up to the pool, mate.
Oh, I don't think we're going to be in the cut-off shorts of the pool. It seems a bit formal for here, but I'm thinking at the final banquet there's going to be a few Canadians really putting it on for you.
Well, I mean, do you have a pair of those cut-off denim shorts / X-jean type garments here in Tasmania at the moment?
No, I didn't end up bringing any with me this time, but I definitely brought a nice array of jeans in various states of Canadian wear.
So my question was going to be asked as the Canadians do some good defending in this back corner here as the Aussies push and attack off a good drive from that advantage puck they had. The question I was going to ask is if you could create a Canadian formal attire denim shorts type get-up, do you think that we could get a bit of a auction going on the live chat over the next few days and see how much money we can raise through it?
For the Canadian tire, to sell off the Canadian tire, or to have a few Canadian players show up with it?
No, we'd auction this beautiful Andy-created sort of Canadian formal wear, cut-off denim jeans type thing to raise some money for the tournament, obviously. I don't know if you guys back home and around the world realise this is a timeout is called for Australia with 5.5 minutes to go. The streaming that all you guys are watching is completely free. One of the reasons for that is the competition organisers have decided to buy all this gear themselves without charging the players and pretty much foot the bill. So we're trying to get to $10,000 in fundraising to just sort of make it a little bit easier for the guys to afford it. And I'm sure you'll all agree that the streaming quality and the commentating that's been provided hopefully has been at least good enough, if not good. And I just think that there might be some buyers out there for this formal Canadian attire that you've been talking about, Andy.
Oh, I think we could definitely put something together. The boys overall have a plan coming. So after the final banquet there and the final little hurrah, we might be able to put together a little package for you. I definitely got a couple of shirts that we can throw in there, and we'll have to find you a pair of pants.
Maybe we could shave your beard, glue it together, and sell it to someone. I think that'd be a pretty good thing. Now that I think about it, as you can see here, the timeout has rolled down. The game is continuing on, and the Canadians have got a free puck just on their defensive side of the halfway line here as they're pushing this near side wall. And the Aussies are meeting them there in a good, strong stretch because they just throw the puck back and throw a switch to the other side. The Canadians are following that switch. They decide not to take it all the way over to the far side there and just drill that centre channel, trying to gain some advantage here on the Canadians, Andy.
Yeah, we watch the Aussies again just back that puck up on the Canadians as they start to overextend. So I'm curious to see how the Canadian team is going to react to this and if they've got any kind of way to come back at that pick and swim away on them.
Yeah, well, they've definitely done a good job of cutting down that offensive drive the Aussies had just there. And again, we find the puck in the defensive Canadian corner. As you can see, they're pretty keen on just holding it there as the Aussies try and funnel it out, back out to their guys. A flick goes into the middle of the park, and there's unfortunately for the Aussies, some good Canadian defence going on. The Aussies have brought the puck over into the centre channel, and they are trying to drive it into the tray. Can't really see if it's gone into the tray or not. I think the Canadians might have just been unsuccessful in getting that puck out of the tray. The referees are conferring, and it is being called a goal. So goal number 4 for Australia. Number 5 has put that in. Alex Barnes-Cogan for his second goal of this match there, Andy.
Oh, it was a fantastic little goal. It was kind of interesting to see. I wish we got to see a better view of it. The ref was obscuring the vision a little bit, but he's in there doing his job. He's making sure everything's safe. The refs are such a big part of this game. They're watching for the little infractions, the little things, and just keeping the game under control. Because you get 20 guys in a pool, all beating up each other a little bit, and sometimes things can get a little out of hand.
Yeah, that's true, mate. As the Aussies and the Canadians go for the strike again, the Australians just getting there before the Canadians and pushing that puck over the left-hand side. And again, the Aussies try and drive that left-hand wall for a little bit and test the edge of the Canadian defence. We've got Jimmy Martin on the live chat here telling me that I got the pronunciation of that Canadian beanie completely wrong. And he's saying that it's pronounced toque. Is that correct?
Toque would be correct. Toque is definitely the term, for sure.
So that's the Canadian term for a beanie.
That is my understanding, that the beanie and a toque are the same. We just call them toques back home, and the beanie is we tend to refer to a beanie as much smaller without the lip and the pom-pom.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So you've got, I don't know if Australians have that. I think as the Aussies have put the puck in the tray, but I think there might have been an infringement called. There's unfortunately for the Canadians, there's an up and down movement going on with the referee, so I think there might be a 2-on-1 at the moment with number 9 for the Canadians, who's also sporting a pretty good Canadian beard in there. He's slapping the water, firing himself up. Who have we got there? Lance Gutman is going to try and defend this 2-on-1 as the Aussies stream in at him. And the puck looks like it's gone in the tray.
I believe that was actually number 4, Remy. Remy Sever. I'm not even going to try to say his last name there. Do you want to take a stab at that?
Yeah, Remy St. Pierre Ricard Bonneau.
I think that was pretty good. That was pretty close. That was way better than I would have done.
He's got a serious coat hanger of a last name, ladies and gentlemen. I am just going to take a guess, and he's got probably about 24 letters in his last name. Remy, R-E-M-I, is his first name, and St. Pierre Ricard Bonneau is his last name. It's a very impressive last name, and if the St. Pierre Ricard Bonneau family is out there listening to this game, your son did a very nice effort trying to defend that 2-on-1, and unfortunately the Aussies have gone up 5-0 with less than 3 minutes to go in this first half. In a tight game against the Canadians, the Aussies are in front by a little bit at the moment, but the Canadians aren't letting them get any of these goals easy, Andy.
Yeah, I just saw a nice little move off the wall. The Canadians looked like they were trying to open it up a little bit, which actually kind of interesting. Might catch the Aussies off guard, but looks like we're called up again here on a. Didn't catch the call on that.
Yeah, that's right. It is an advantage puck for the Canadians, and it is going to go against the Aussies here as we set up for another free puck here. And Sean Conati, all the way from Canada, who is barracking for the Australians, he said he's going to chip in $50 if a Canadian brings him a Bunnings sausage back to Whistler after the comp. Up the barnacle, Sean says, come on, Aussie. So, I'm pretty sure, Sean, that you haven't stipulated what kind of state that sausage needs to be in. So I'm pretty sure that one of the Canadians can go down as the Aussies get a real nice breakaway goal. Number 6 for them. Unfortunately, the Aussies are getting a lot of space on the Canadian defence there. Number 2 for Australia, Josh McKenzie, the fullback, just going on a big overlap drive straight through the middle of the park to score goal number 6. But what do you reckon, Andy? You reckon the Canadians can go to one of those hardware stores here in Tassie, buy a sausage and just sort of put that thing in a snap lock bag and get it back to Canada for Sean?
Oh, nobody ever checks the Canadians when we cross the border. They just trust us. It's actually kind of weird. We walk across the border with just about anything, and we just smile and say we got a couple cases of beer, and off we go.
We might even post that thing to Sean in Whistler. It'd probably still get to him. I don't know what state it's going to be in, but Sean, it's probably not going to be edible. But hey, it's up to you, mate. I don't know how hungry you are over there in Whistler. I know a lot of Australians on holidays do tend to push the friendship with the hunger barriers, just trying to stay overseas as long as they can. As the referees call another advantage puck up for obstruction against the Canadians for the Aussies with less than a minute counting down here in the first half. The Australians commanding a good lead now against the Canadians, 6-0 up, and I'm sure that the Canadians will do their best to hold them out here on this advantage puck for Australia, Andy.
Yeah, this advantage puck right in front of the net, it's going to be tough for the Canadians to keep it out, but I'm excited to see what happens here. If we get a good rush and a good drive out, we can probably hold them out for the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. The Canadians have been doing a good amount of defence. They've got some good numbers on the bottom here, and it looks to me like they're just going to try and hold it in the corner for these last 30 seconds. Obviously, the Aussies are going to try and bring it around and put one more in the tin before the clock runs out of time. But you can see the structures there as the referees call another buzzer. They are going to give an advantage puck to the Aussies for another obstruction and a stick infringement. But I think because they've called a free puck, the Aussies are going to run out of time to put a goal in the tin here as we go 2-1, and the half time is called by the chief referee. Both teams are going to get 3 minutes now to swap ends and have a couple of big deep breaths before they kick off in this second half. Andy, how did you feel that first half went for the Canadians?
I think they kind of met their goals. They came into this game knowing that they wanted to go defense first, and it looks like they're putting up a definite fight there. Knowing a little bit about the Canadian team here, just some of the guys that are playing are very, very new to the sport. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch the name here. Leo Custo. He's only been playing for less than a year. He's in here working away. A couple of the French guys, Cap 5, 7, and 8. I believe those guys are also quite new. This is a very inexperienced Canadian team for the most part. I'm kind of curious how they stack up against the Aussies for experience-wise, but it's exciting to see the guys getting out there, getting the experience, really working hard. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of curious what the Aussie team's kind of like for experience, because we got such a rookie Canadian team in the water.
Yeah, the Australian team does have a certain amount of experience. There are probably about at least 4 or 5 of their team this World Championships that were there last Worlds 2 years ago. So, I mean, the Aussie teams were the silver medalists 2 years ago in Spain at in the under-23 division. So they are carrying a fair bit of experience. They do have Josh McKenzie, who also played in the Elite World Championships last year in Stellenbosch for the Aussie men's team. So they've got Joshy leading the charge there in the fullback position predominantly, and they've got a couple of really good players coming through. Richard Cleary, Evan Wang. If we could just get the Australian team list flashed up on the screen again. Cam Lewis is a newcomer to the team. Alex Barnes-Cogan's been there for quite some time. Marco Rolfs is new. Connor Munnings, I think it's his first time in the under-23s. Andreas Londono is a first timer. Mitch Piccoli has definitely been around for at least 1, if not 2, underage world championships so far. And Ben Stepkovic's been around for a couple as well. So they do have a good smattering of experience and newcomers. And Nick Martin, the coach there, as well as Greg Stinson, the co-coach, have been working hard to bring this team up to a high-quality Australian-style hockey standard. But, yeah, I mean, as you can see there, they are executing a bit of Australian hockey. They are doing a lot of switching in this game, and it's from an Australian point of view, it's nice to see them getting the puck out into the space there, Andy.
Exactly, and it's kind of neat just to hear the experience difference of these two teams, and that the fact that the score is only 6-0 is actually kind of what I'm looking at as being exciting. Is the Canadian guys with such an experienced group is going toe to toe with this experienced, strong team that's been working. Just kind of curious how how does the juniors program work? Like, what age do you guys start at down here in Australia? Because back home in Canada, we only have maybe 3 or 4 different juniors clubs, and the ages we're trying to start them kind of young, but we're having a hard time kind of drawing up the attention.
Yeah, I mean it's from a basic level, the schools competition in Tassie in particular is very strong. Another strong schools competition is in WA. There are a few juniors coming through in other places like Queensland and New South Wales, but the 2 strongest junior competitions in Australia are definitely still in WA and Tasmania, I think. They do start around grade 7, so 12 or 13 years old, and then it's just up to them and how competitive they get as to whether or not they push into the Australian representative sort of level as the Australians push attack and the Canadians follow the Aussies as they flick over there to the centre channel. But yeah, I mean, I know that there's quite a few players in this lineup at the moment that did start playing hockey around 12 or 13 years of age at places like the Friends School here in Hobart, Tasmania. I know Nick Martin, the coach, definitely did that. I was the same, and quite a few of the guys started playing hockey. Yeah, it certainly pays dividends for the Aussies when we do get those guys coming through, having played the sport from 12 years old there, Andy.
Exactly, and if I'm hearing you right, it's a high school and middle school kind of teams that are driving the young players down here in Australia.
Yeah, not everywhere. Like some people come from different levels, different walks of life at a later age, but there are a lot of junior kids that come through the underwater hockey program in Australia and do represent both Australia in the junior levels and the senior levels in the elite teams, and I'm definitely a product of that program as well as a lot of the other coaches and support staff that are supporting these great junior athletes here at this competition in Hobart.
That's fantastic. Yeah, back in Canada, there's only a handful of universities that even have clubs, so driving the program is difficult. As I said, the U19s really just kind of come from kids of players, but the U23 program, it's driven mainly out of a couple of universities. One university to Guelph, I'll give them a shout out because about a third of just under a third of the Canadian teams actually started playing in the University of Guelph, and they've kind of come up the ranks from there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously any kind of development program that a country can get in place, as you see the Australians here just waiting for the referees to make a decision on whose advantage puck it is. They have been working the puck up in that attacking right-hand corner for quite some time. As you can see, I think Alex Barnes-Cogan there in the right next to the referee getting pushed back for this advantage-free puck for the Canadians. Any development program that a country has in place is definitely a good thing for the sport of underwater hockey, and the earlier you can get players into the game, the better it is. Especially if the program has a lot of quality in it. We do have people coming from the university levels as well, not that much, depends on the place. New South Wales, for example, gets a lot of expats coming in, so we actually get a lot of people moving to Sydney, for example, from other countries that end up playing in the Nationals leagues for Australia. Yeah, I mean, this Australian under-23 team has probably got at least half of the team has come through schools competition, or a couple of generations of players being kids or whatever. So you can see the Aussies, again, drawing it out and throwing a quick switch over to the other side. The Canadians are quick onto this one, swimming after those guys. They are stretching it all the way over to that far side. And I'll tell you what, for this first, 3 and a bit minutes of this second half, the Canadians are holding the Aussies out here, Andy.
Yeah, I just kind of noticed that I think the Aussies had a kick out there. I didn't quite catch the number. I think it's number 2 was Josh McKenzie there. I think might be sitting in the sin bin. Didn't quite catch what it was for, but I believe it might be Josh McKenzie.
Yeah, okay, so if the Aussies are playing one player down, apologies for missing that as we gas-bagged about the hockey development side of this tournament. But the Aussies still kind of controlling the flow of the game here. The Canadians doing a really good job of keeping the Aussies out of the tin and stopping them from scoring as the Canadian takes an opportunity to scream over the sub-bench and get a fresh guy into the water. A very dangerous place to sub. They've done a good job of taking the opportunity there, but not really the greatest place to sub there, Andy.
Yeah, I think that was their captain, Jacob Shears, just bailing out of the 3 position. I think he was playing. We're playing a 2-3-1, so he would have been guarding the corner. So a little bit of a risk jumping out like that. I'm sure Jordan's gonna have a quick little word with him and tell him, hey, it's probably just the best idea to suck it up and just stay in there a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's certainly the Australian way of doing things. We usually don't like guys subbing in deep defence. It just leaves a hole that's quite hard to plug. As you can see, the ref's calling another potential goal here for the Aussies. Josh McKenzie coming up right on the goal tray there with a couple of other guys. I didn't see the lad that put the goal in the tin there, but just for to let the guys know at home who was sitting in the bin, it was Richard Cleary spending a minute in the bin for the Aussies, but it looks to me like he's back in the water now, and the Australians back to full strength with 6 guys in the water as well as the Canadians. Sounds to me like there might be a timeout called, and my apologies, Richard is still on the side, so the Aussies still playing with 5. He looks like a coiled spring. He's about to jump back in the water once the puck has been touched, and it might be it is a timeout, so you can see the teams there having a bit of a chat. It is 7-0 now, I believe, for Australia leading this game. The Canadians doing a good amount of defending and really putting a lot of defensive pressure on the Aussies and asking them to come up with a lot of solutions to putting the puck in the tray and making the Aussies work really hard to score every single goal. So hats off to the Canadian lads here for really making the Aussies work hard for this every single goal they score, Andy.
Oh, exactly. I'm just kind of curious here watching since we're zoomed in on the Australians right now talking. I'm kind of curious what the coach is saying, whether he's changed up a little bit of a game plan. Maybe they might start working on maybe a different play to practice maybe for later in the tournament, or if they're going to kind of stick to the game plan and just keep running up the score.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Kyle Wapshot off the live chat is barracking for Canada at the moment on there. He's asking Canada to get one over the Aussies, but in the end he's also barracking for the New Zealand 23s all the way. Jimmy Martin's picked up the conversation about the Canadian junior development as the Canadians get possession of the puck and slowly try and pick their moment to drive it down the right-hand wall here. And Julie Herman, who I think must be a Canadian lass, lets us know that it takes 22 hours just to drive across Ontario, so the juniors only get to play twice a year. That's a bit of a challenge for the juniors there, Andy.
Oh, it is. These guys, this U23 team, the men's, they only got to play, I think they had the whole team together twice within the last year to train and to put this together. So this is essentially our training camp. We come to Worlds and figure it out when we're here a lot of the times just because the country's so large. It's a lot like down here in Australia. But I think we're a little more spread out east to west.
Yeah, well, you guys definitely do have a big country there as the Aussies get it right up onto the attacking tray and the Canadians do a really good amount of defence, just scraping that puck off the goal there, stopping the Aussies from scoring as Parra, the Colombian ref, gives the Canadians an advantage puck and pushes the Aussies back for a gloving infringement. Well done to the Canadians for a really tight forward defence structure there. Aussies asking them some good attacking questions and the Canadians up to the challenge in that last passage of play as we just count down to just over 8 minutes to go in this second half. And it's turning out to be a good contest. I mean, we went into the second half 6-0, the Australians up. They've only managed one goal in the first half of this second half here, Andy.
Yeah, the Canadians are definitely putting up a much stronger defense. It looks like here. They're taking their time. They're really trying to direct the Australians towards the wall channels, but just right there we can see the Australians aren't having any of it and just really driving back into the middle.
Yeah, the Canadians are doing a good job of following that lateral movement the Australians are initiating. As you can see, they're sort of setting up for a bit of contest on that far side. As we look at the bird's eye view for a second, you can see how much rotation is going on with the Aussies right now as the Canadians drive a bit of advantage and push the Australians back down the pool on that far left-hand attacking wall for the Canadians. The Australians were definitely looking to try and sort of control the pace of that attacking move the Canadians have got going at the moment. It looks to me like the Canadians are doing a good job, at least then, of keeping it in the box as we see the Aussies try and open it up across the court. They sort of rip it back, and the Canadian player stays down and gets good possession as he drives it down the court. He's got a good amount of space here as he flicks it forward and keeps on following. Unfortunately, there's an Australian defender there who manages to clean it up and get it underneath his sub-bench, but a really nice attacking move from the Canadians there, Andy.
Yeah, they worked really hard. It was a fantastic drive. I think we're just missing one more player following up that play. Someone must have got hung up on surface, or we might be looking, maybe the guys are getting a little tired. Legs might be burning a wee bit at the end here.
Yeah, it was a good second effort. That player that went for that swim for the Canadians was down there for a long time. He basically sort of got the puck ripped off him, stayed down. The Australians tried to drive that centre channel, got the puck back, ripped it off the Aussie and went for a big swim as we see the Australians on a counter-attack at the moment in that far right-hand attacking corner for the Aussies. Canadians defending, but I think the one thing the Canadians did that they probably could have done a bit differently on the end of that drive was just not flick the puck at the end. He kind of flicked it forward in a desperate attempt to sort of give him or one of his players an advantage, but all his players were behind him. The only thing he ended up doing was just allowing the Australian defence to swoop onto it and get that puck out to the side a lot easier than it needed to be for the Canadian side of things anyway, Andy.
Yeah, I think a little more patience on that one, maybe a quick little curl back. Take a little lesson from the Aussies here where, you do that big lateral swim and curl it back, drop it back to the next player coming in, let them have a go at it. You don't really want to rush. You get a little goal hungry sometimes when you get close to the tin there. But it's way more important to just take your time, be patient, keep control of the game, and just get your team to restabilize around you.
Yeah, that's right. As the Canadians again start dictating some attacking moves on the Aussies here, the Aussies trying to switch, as we've seen them do all game, as they throw that puck out to the left-hand wing and he swoops onto it, hits that wall, recycles it back. The halfback pushes it into the centre there and tries to gain some advantage, but he just didn't have a very good bottom position as he picked up the puck. He sort of got turned inside out, lost his feet underneath his body there, and just got turned inside out by the Canadians. As the Aussies drive through the centre, the Canadians are desperately trying to keep it out, but unfortunately I think it's ended up in the tin. The referees are going to confer, but that looks like the 8th goal for the Aussies. Number 1 for the Australian team, finishing that offside. Tommy Milner, Mr. Speed himself, the big milk, putting goal number 8 in for the Australians. So that's the second goal in the second half with only 5 minutes remaining, Andy. So, again, a pretty good showing by the Canadians. They're really making the Australians work hard for it like they have all game.
Yeah, for sure. This second half is definitely turning around a little bit towards the Canadian side of things. They're really getting their heads down. They're focusing. They're getting back to their game plan of defense first, take care of what's coming down the middle, get it out to the sides, and just try to weather the storm of the Australian attack.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. And they are doing a good job as the play goes over to the far side of the court again. And looks to me like the Canadians might be starting to dictate a bit of play on that wall. Again, they're probably using that box formation to just sort of tie that Australian attack down. The Aussies have obviously got it clear now, and they're driving that centre channel as they flick it out to that wide player who sort of does a nice sort of reverse push-pull back into the centre, gets met by the Canadian defender, regains possession, passes it back to his halfback. Another nice push-pull, focusing on possession here. Josh McKenzie, the fullback's maintaining possession, flicks it out to his right-hand halfback, and he'll go over to the other side of the court and see how much space he can find over there. The Canadians are going to meet him there, and they will gain a little bit of ground here, but again, no clear advantage that's going to end up in a goal anytime soon here, Andy.
Yeah, I just kind of noticing the Australians seem to be playing just a little bit differently. They're definitely trying to open the Canadians up some more. They're not just driving into that strong Canadian defense anymore. They're trying to find a way around it and try to be smart about it. Maybe trying to work a little bit less to get a little more advantage.
Yeah, well, the Aussies just made me eat my words because I said it wasn't going to end up in a goal soon, and it just did. So, yeah, I need to work harder, obviously, in my game assessment skills as I let my words, or maybe I should think before I speak a little bit more, as Mitch Piccoli puts the ninth goal for the Australians in. Like Andy said, the Aussies were definitely taking their time there, picking their moment to attack, and they didn't really drive that puck into the Canadian defence or structure at all then. They just kind of consolidated possession on the left-hand side, decided to throw it back around to the right, drove a right-hand angle, again waited. The Canadians sort of quickly swam over there to meet them, but the Aussies just managed to find some space and drive that puck into the tray there, Andy.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to see with the last 3 minutes of play coming up. I'm excited to see if the Canadians change it up and start trying a few more little high risk plays. When you're down 9-0, you really got nothing to lose to try something maybe a little more high risk and see if you can get maybe a goal out of it just to get some momentum and some spirit back in the boys.
Yeah, that's right. As the Canadians regain possession off a big 45 swim from the Aussies right to left, the referees have pulled up an infringement, I think, on Josh McKenzie, fullback number 2 there in the picture. It's going to be a stick infringement and an advantage puck for the Canadians in the middle of the park. As you can see, the Aussie forward line just trying to get back onto that line that the referees are setting up. The Canadians setting up with 2 in front, I think, and 3 behind as they kind of swim to the left and then flick it back to the right. Met pretty quickly by the Australian line there. They managed to get it underneath that line and to an awaiting Canadian player. But again, the Aussies are meeting them in there, and they take it out to that far side of the court again, Andy.
Yeah, I think the Canadians had a plan there, but it looks like the Aussies read it before they even started and shut it down and forced the Canadians back into where they didn't want to really be going. So it was kind of a little bit heartbreaking to see when they had an opportunity on an advantage puck to open the Aussies up a little bit, maybe try something a little different. But props to the Aussies for getting on that quick and shutting down the Canadian wide play.
Yeah, well, like you said, the Canadians have definitely got nothing to lose in this stage of the game as we count down to a minute and a half remaining. 9 goals up the Aussies are to 0 for the Canadians. So it would be really nice to see the Canadians pull something special together and put one in the tin. It would definitely be good for their morale as they move through this competition, as the Aussies have a crack at driving somewhere near the back wall there. And I think all the players come up to the surface, so it looks to me like they've surprised the Canadian defender, or defence, I should say, one more time. And that's goal number 10 for the Aussies with just over a minute remaining. Just waiting to see who scored that goal. Cameron Lewis, number 4 for the Australian team, putting that goal in. I think it was Evan Wang. Well done, Evan, for scoring the 10th goal for the Aussies in this well fought out game against the Canadian under-23 men as we go underneath a minute. And Kyle Wapshot, awesome commentating, by the way, guys. Also, who's your pick to win the men's 23 from first 3 days of play? I'll hand that one over to you there, Andy.
Oh, that's a bit of a hard one. I've been coaching the U23 women's team, so I haven't got a chance to watch a lot of the other men's games. So I'm kind of at a loss. I've been hearing the New Zealand team's a pretty tough team, and they're working well, and they're opening things up. But I haven't checked the stats, and I really haven't had a look. But that's just kind of what I'd be thinking for putting my favor on.
Yes, okay. Andy's going with the New Zealand under-23s. I'd probably be lynched if I said anyone other than the Australian team, being an Aussie myself, as the Australians press again on that attacking right-hand side with the seconds counting down in the last little bit of this game against the Canadians. It looks to me like the buzzer has gone. I think the ref has seen something before the final buzzer. It's interesting to see if the Aussies managed to get goal number 11 there or if the time ran out. I'm getting another message here that maybe it might be the Turks are the favourite to win. The Turkish are certainly the current world champions in the under-23 men's division. So as the full-time buzzer is called and the referee, I think, is just going to go have a chat with the chief ref to see if the Aussies scored goal number 11 against the Canadians there or not. I guess if I had to call the favourite at this stage, as I said, I'm always going to go with the Aussies because I think that even if they're the underdogs, they certainly have a chance of taking this competition out. The Turks are certainly the world champions from 2 years ago in this division, so those guys are certainly up there with the favourites. The Kiwis are certainly looking like they're a strong contender for the championship as well, and never to be counted out is the South Africans and other teams like that. The Colombians are also one to watch, I think, as they progress through this comp. So I know I didn't give you an answer here there, Kyle, but in my opinion, it's just way too early to tell, mate. My apologies. And I'm going to ask my friend Andy here with his glorious lumberjack beard to go out poolside and have a chat to these young athletes, if you wouldn't mind there, Andy.
Oh, actually, unfortunately, I'm going to have to get running here. I got to get the girls back home for some dinner. I had a couple come out to just watch the game, and I'm going to get lynched if I go out there and spend any more time here. They're getting hungry, and I don't want to get taken home in a paper bag.
So last question, do you put any brew cream in that beard, or is that all El Natural?
Oh, I put a little cream in it today just for you guys.
That's good to know, mate. Do you comb it at all?
Yeah, it needs a little bit of brushing, or else it just kind of turns into this big,
there you
nasty,
go.
dirty
There you go,
mat,
ladies and gentlemen. So it's not all El Natural. He does have to work at it. It doesn't happen overnight, but if anyone's out there looking for tips for how to generate a beard like that, that's how to do it. Thanks a lot for your time today, Andy.
Oh, pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Yeah, how's that? Can you hear that? Yeah, I got 2 minutes left. Hey, Nick, a convincing win over Canada, the Commonwealth country. How'd you feel in that game watching the boys?
Yeah, look, Dave, it's probably a game that we would have liked to have a bit earlier in the comp. It was a good confidence-building game for the boys. Canada trying to play their structures, but, yeah, Aussie boys finally finding some intent and actually trying to open the game up.
Yeah, I saw some good runs by the boys, 45, Tom, and you had some attacking halfbacks working pretty hard behind you there.
Yeah, we've mixed it up a little bit and changed a few positions around, which is working to get some more aggression. You know, we've been pretty good in our defense so far in the tournament, but just haven't been able to convert any of that good work they're doing into any aggressive pressure. So that's what we're really working on for the rest of the comp.
Yeah, good one. I've got the Canadian guy standing by, so well done, Nick, and look forward to day 4.
Yeah, I've done more than enough talking, Dave. So
thanks, Matt. Cameras down there, number 13 for the Canadian team. Welcome.
Thank you.
Say hello to the folks back home.
Hi guys, how you doing?
How'd you enjoy that game? It's Australian team. Is that your first game against the Australians?
I've been actually living in Perth for the past couple months, leading up to Worlds. So I played with them a little bit, but that was the first time on the kind of the international stage playing against them.
All right, so you've been playing with the likes of Josh and Mitch before.
Yeah, 100%. Really good guys.
Yeah. And you sort of were working on a few things. You seemed to dominate the play in the second half. Was this something that Coach Jordan told you to do to work on?
I think he just reminded us of our game plan, and we kind of got a little sidetracked, maybe a little hectic towards the end of the first half, and then he came in, calmed us down, and reminded us of what we came here to do and what we were trying to do with this game. So yeah, he kind of talked us back into our heads, and it went pretty well.
Okay, well, I'm sorry for the loss, but good luck with the rest of the tournament and good luck tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.